Hello Stampers, this is Kelly Acheson at stampinup.com coming to you from Monasha, Wisconsin in the United States. Thanks for joining me for this video today with the Totally Techniques blog hop. This is a global blog hop. So when you go back to my blog, you're going to find a link to I think there's 8 to 10 of us in the group in different countries. Each Stampin' Up! Demonstrator is in a different country. And today we are featuring the cracked glass technique. This is an oldie but goodie, and I hope you can see this in the camera. I'm just going to kind of tilt it around, but do you see how that looks like cracked glass on this layer with the picture and flowers from the Country Home set? I am going to do my video a little different today. First of all, I'm going to show you just how to do this technique, the cracked glass technique. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to show you how I made the rest of the card in case you're interested in that also. I know sometimes it's like, I just want to see the technique. So I thought this would be a little different way to go about it. Let's get started and I'll show you how fun this is. So I've already stamped and colored in this image. And like I said, when I get done showing you how the technique works, I will then share with you how I made the rest of the card in case you'd like to see that also. So I'm using the Country Home stamp set, and I've stamped my picture and my flowers on a 2.5 by 3.5 inch piece of Whisper White. I colored it in with the Stampin' Blend alcohol markers, and I used the color lifter in the middle here to kind of pick up some of the color on that picture. That's how you can be really artsy with these alcohol markers. Then what I chose to do, the cracked glass technique is kind of a very vintage, old-looking technique. So I wanted something in the background. I grabbed my Gallery Grunge stamp set, and I took out this image because it's very subtle and it looks kind of antique-ish. I'm going to use that with some Pool Party. And although this doesn't have anything to do with the cracked glass technique, you need to do all your stamping before you add your embossing powder. I've got Pool Party ink. I'm just going to stamp that off once, and then I'm going to come around in here, and you can see what a very subtle look that is. I just thought this would help add to the charm of this technique, and I'm just going to go around and stamp off and add this texture. I almost forgot to stamp off there. Add this texture in various places. There we go. That's gonna do it for me. Then we're gonna bring in a Versamark ink pad. And I've also got just a little sheet here because we're gonna take that ink pad and we're gonna just push it onto our layer. We don't need an embossing buddy on here, right? I've taken my clear embossing powder and I put it right into a container, so this is just easier for me to handle. And clear embossing powder is something that I use more often than some of the others, so it's nicer to have it in here. I've got like 2 jars of embossing powder in here just to give me enough so that I don't have to struggle. I also broke the end off my spoon. Whoops, did you see me just flick it? Yeah, that's great, Kelly. We're starting off really good. I just broke the end off my spoon so it'll fit in here and it'll be in here all the time. That just makes things handy. Now, what I've done is I've covered this with clear embossing powder. I'm going to bring in my heat tool and I'm going to emboss this. This is loud, it takes a little bit of time, so right before I get finished I'll come back on screen so you can see what's happening here. Okay, now once you think that you're done, you want to take this and you want to tilt it in the light, and I can clearly see that I have some places that are not glossy on here, and that means that they did not get heat set yet, so I'm going to make sure that I've heat set everything. Okay, now this is, you can already touch it. This dries really fast, or I should say that it cools off really fast. So I'm going to add another layer of Versamark ink and some more embossing powder. Now for this cracked glass to work, Our Stampin' Up! Embossing powder is extremely fine, which makes it a very, very high quality embossing powder. You can take any embossing powder that you buy in the store and put it up against Stampin' Up's embossing powder, and this will win hands down every time because it is just such high quality. The other embossing powder will be kind of, it doesn't give you a nice, good coat. It's kind of sporadic. It's just not a good quality product for the most part. So once I've done this, I'm going to heat set this again. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm tilting this in the light, and this looks like I have gotten everything heat set. Now, this was our second layer of embossing powder. You actually need a minimum of about 4 layers of embossing powder. So I'm going to add those 2 layers, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have put 5 layers on here. And the really cool thing is it looks pretty neat right now, right? It looks like a piece of ceramic tile, you guys. So you could stop right here and use this on your card, but I want to show you the cracked glass technique. So I'm going to run into my kitchen. I'm going to actually set this in the freezer. I'm going to leave it there for a few minutes. How many minutes? Oh, 4, 3, 2. Last time it was 10 because I got kind of sidetracked and had to go do some things. So let's give this some time to freeze, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and you have to crack this fairly quickly. Now I just walked from my kitchen. Yep, I just walked from my kitchen into my stamp room, and you can see one little crack here, but it's already cooled off. So I'm going to take my camera into my kitchen because you have to literally take it out of the freezer and crack it. Otherwise, it's too soft already. It won't crack because it's warmed up in the amount of time it took me to walk down here. So let's go do that. Okay, so I've set up in the kitchen, and I'm sorry about the shadows and stuff, but I don't have real good lighting in here for videos. I'm going to grab my piece and bring it over here and show you how it cracks. Can you hear it? If you grab it right out of your freezer, it will do all the little crack things. It's pretty darn cool. And if you don't get enough cracks out of it, just set it back in there for a little bit more, and you can crack it again. All right, we're going back to my studio. Okay, so you're gonna love this. I came back in here and I added some sponging to this, and the sponging helps highlight the cracks in it. And then I wiped it off with a tissue. So I sponged on some soft suede ink with a sponge, just sponged it on there, and then wiped that off with a tissue. Now, I would have shown you that, except when I pushed and turned on my video camera again, it actually didn't turn on, and I thought it did. So I had that done here, and I hope that you can see the cracks in this glass because this is such a cool technique. Okay, I am ready to show you how to make the rest of the card. Now, if you don't want to see all that, that's fine. This shows you the cracked glass technique. If you would like to place any orders, you can go right to my blog, www.stampinupbub.com. This is the current host code. That code can always be found in the right-hand column. If it's not October, it'll have a new code in November, so it's a monthly code. And thanks for those of you that have watched this far. I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with me. For those of you that like to see the rest of the card, I've got some great elements on here to share with you. I am going to bring that in now and show you how to make the whole thing. This is Bermuda Bay. It's 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it at 5 1/2. And then I've got a layer of basic black. This is 4 by 5 1/4. Another layer of Bermuda Bay that is 3 3/4 by 5. The Whisper White layer for our image that is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. A piece of basic black to layer behind that is 2 5/8 by 3 5/8. And then I've got a little piece for our greeting that is 3/4 by about 2 1/4. Okay, I have a new product from our holiday mini catalog to share with you. This is the Buffalo Check background stamp and this thing is just so, so pretty. So when my videotape didn't start, I've already got that inked up with Memento black ink. Yeah, you gotta love it, right? And I'm just gonna moisten that ink again. And I'm bringing in that smaller layer of Bermuda Bay. I'm just gonna lay this down, and then I've got this piece of scrap paper here so that I can use a nice flat hand. Now, anytime you're using these big background stamps, you want to leave your stamp lay on the table and bring your cardstock to it like this. You're gonna have so much better success that way. Here we go. And isn't that just so, it's striking. I absolutely love this one. All right, we are going to do a little bit of stamping here. The greetings that I chose are from the Detailed with Love stamp set because I wanted a birthday card. So I'm going to use the Happy Birthday and the Life is Sweeter with Friends Like You. I've got this little piece. Is for my birthday banner. Where'd my ink go? Here it is. I'm just going to stamp this. I love the font on these. My happy birthday. Oh, I got it straight. Yay me, winning. After my video didn't start again, I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Things are looking up. Okay. And here comes the greeting on the inside. Oh, that turned out great. And then I'm going to take the flowers and just stamp them to decorate up this inside just a little bit. Oh, that looks fabulous, doesn't it? And as long as we have out the black ink, I might as well stamp my water pitcher. Now again, this is Memento ink, and I'm using that versus any other kind of black ink because we're going to be coloring with the Stampin' Blend alcohol markers. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm just going to flag this end. I think I want to cut this just a little bit shorter. I believe I told you that was 2 1/4 inches long, but you're going to trim it down just a little bit. And do your flag, cut that middle line, and then come in from both ends. And that works out really good for me. I hardly ever have to start over, if you know what I mean. Where you flag it and then it's crooked, so then you cut off some more, and then you cut off some more, and pretty soon you have to start over. Who's done that? Me. Yeah. Okay, so this is ready to go. And I'm going to adhere this stamped layer to my black. There we go. And we can put this right on our card front. And then I'm going to do some coloring here. So let me get some of this stuff out of the way. I don't want to lose this. So I'm going to start with my water pitcher, and I was really happy with the way that turned out. Like, I was like, oh, this looks so artsy. It looks like I'm a real live artist, and I'm, in a way, I guess I am an artist, but I would never be able to draw this water pitcher. You know what I mean? That kind of artist. Yeah. No. So I was really happy. These alcohol markers make everybody look like an artist. They really do. Now I've got the dark, I think smoky slate. Yep, dark smoky slate here. And I'm just going to come in and do some shading, just like that. Then I'm going to come in with the light smoky slate. And a tip that I can give you about this is if you do this right away, now I'm blending the light and the dark together, the blending goes easier. Like, you don't have to fight it so much. If you color up 20 of these and then you go and try to blend them, it's not as easy. So see where I've got this dark? I'm just blending, 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 blending. There we go. Okay, and that in itself kind of leaves a highlight in the middle of the water pitcher. But I also brought in my color lifter, and I just kind of took it and did that, and that brightens that up and makes it look like kind of a pewter water pitcher with the light shining on it. I was just so impressed. Yeah, and it's all in the tools that you use that really help make these types of things successful for us non-artists. I mean, some people can color with crayons and make it look like they're a complete rock star. I'm not one of them. Let's just be very clear there. Okay, this was the dark or light Calypso Coral, and now I'm coming in with the dark Pool Party. And I just thought these were pretty colors together. And that looks like that's all the little berries. And then I'm going to come in here and color these little round things. I'm not quite sure what they are, but they're getting colored. Pool Party. Then I'm coming in with the dark Cajun Craze. And I'm going to do these seed pods. Somebody told me what these were called, but I can't remember again now. But I do know they're seed pods of some type. Because, yeah, I don't have any memory left. How about you guys? I know, it's kind of a universal problem. Can't remember anything. Yeah. And things fly in and out so fast, don't they? Like squirrel. Okay, this is the dark Old Olive, and I'm just going to give each one of my leaves that have a little line in the middle, I'm just going to give them a touch of this dark Old Olive, and that's going to add that little bit of shading that, again, makes you look like you're like a complete artist. And come in and blend these a little bit. You don't have to get too crazy with them because they're very small. But this really does make all the difference in making your stuff look so pretty. And then there's a couple stems in here that I always like to color. Just a tiny little thing that you don't really think about, but it's there. Okay, you guys. Now, we're going to go back to the Pool Party. I'm going to do this very quickly because you already saw me do this part. And I'm using the kind of very shabby chic gallery grunge image here with Pool Party ink. So I'm going to stamp and ink off and stamp on my image. Stamp, ink off, stamp on my image. Stamp, ink off. Maybe some right there. Stamp, ink off. Stamp, ink off. I didn't want it solid, but I just want it to look kind of antique-ish. Okay. Then the one thing I forgot to do to the other sample piece that I made was add this sponging around the edge before we started the embossing. And I'm just going to antique these edges with some soft suede ink and a Stampin' sponge, because it kind of goes along with the whole shabby chic cracked glass, I guess is a good way to put it. And now we're ready to do the layers of clear embossing powder. So I'm going to pull in my little scrap paper here, and we're going to go through this process. I am not going to make you watch me do this at all, but just know that I'm going to add 5 or 6 layers of embossing powder. That was Versamark ink again. I just put that all over my entire front, and my clear embossing powder. And there we go. I'm going to hit this with a heat tool. I'm going to do that same thing 4, 5, 6 times, and I'll come back to you when I'm done so I can show you the rest of the card. Okay, so I cracked this as soon as I pulled it out of the freezer, and it's got some really awesome crack lines in it. Every time you do this, it's going to be different. The next thing you need to do is sponge on some ink to antique and to get into those crack lines to make them more pronounced. So that's what I'm doing here. And once you do that, I've got a tissue here to wipe the ink off the front of your layer because, you know, it's non-porous now. It's not going to stay on the embossed part, but it will get into those cracks, which is oh so cool. All right, the rest of our card. This is a technique that takes a little time and effort, but it certainly is worth the time and effort. It's just so very elegant. I'm going to attach this to our black layer. Whoa, that black layer is the wrong size. I don't know how I did that. Well, I do. I measured wrong. It's pretty simple, Kelly. We've all done it, right? Okay. Here we go. Then I'm going to pop this up on some dimensionals. Now, before I do that, I want to add one of these really cool galvanized clips. These are on, I believe, the page with the Country Home stamp set. And I thought this would make a great embellishment on this card. You can use linen thread, or what I did here is I took a long piece of our burlap trim and I cut the edge off of it, and then you can peel all these strings apart, you know, because burlap is kind of a woven thread. So that's what I did here, is I just pulled these off. This is a little thicker than linen thread, which, you know, is kind of what I was looking for. And I'm just going to push the thread into this clip, maybe, if I can get it. There we go. Open your clip up a little bit. It'll make life a lot easier. And then I'm going to attach it to the side of my layer. Okay, here we go. And then I just wanted to tie a bow. And this goes along with kind of like the antique look, the old look of this technique. Shabby chic. Oops, my clip just popped right off. Hang on, we'll get that back on there. There we go. Adjust these a little bit. I'm just going to snip these off. And then we're going to do our dimensionals. And when I pulled that clip open, I kind of pulled it open a little further than I would have liked to. So I'm adding a dimensional there that's going to keep that right in place. So if you happen to do that, these clips are really neat because, oh, look at the ink on my hands. Sorry, guys, that is ink. They have a little hole in them. You can tie your ribbon through there, or as I did, you can put it on the opposite way and tie your ribbon right around that front clip. And it goes along with the galvanized steel with the color of my water pitcher too, so I like that. We are almost complete. Do you like how I flick those backings? That's what we have vacuum cleaners for, right? Make sure I'm putting this on here the right way. And I just decided to angle my main image a little bit and then bring in my happy birthday greeting. And I think whoever gets this card is just going to love it. And there we go. Okay, you guys. Thank you so much for taking a little time out of your day to watch the rest of this video. I hope you enjoyed the cracked glass technique. It really is a very elegant and fun technique. If you'd like to order any of the products that I've shown you here today, you can go to my blog. Use the current monthly host code. You'll find that in the right-hand column. Also, don't forget to click down here and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You don't want to miss anything I have coming up. I use the Country Home stamp set, the buffalo check background. My words are from Detailed with Love. And remember this gallery grunge image that we used in the background to make that look a little more grungy and shabby chic and, yeah, very cool. All right, you guys have a great day. Make sure you click on the link to my blog. Underneath the YouTube video, there's a link directly to my blog for this blog hop. Everybody's doing cracked glass in the Totally Techniques Global blog hop. You'll want to see what everybody else came up with. I love seeing all the different ideas. Have yourselves a great weekend. Bye-bye.